Okay.
Hey, Kristen.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay.
Well, this is the Hoover Library's Sci-Fi Fantasy Festival DC Comics panel. I'm Stan Daniel with Albert Marsh from Kingdom Casts. Content provider Tim Bryant is joining us. I'm going to assume it's voice only. Right, Tim?
Well, hold on a second. There. How's that? Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
There I am.
There you go. And Derek Lord's sitting in. And he's just got a name.
And a number.
Yeah, there you go. Tim, the last time we talked to you about DC Comics, a couple of things have changed.
Yeah. My buddy's no longer there. Actually, he really wasn't my buddy, but
Yeah.
DD's gone.
Dan Didio's long gone. They've left a number of things up in the air. How you feeling about the AT&T situation?
I have some concerns about it. That's just me. I'm kind of concerned what's going to happen overall if their direction is truly for comics or if it's for making money, which should be part of the business.
Yeah.
But there's no telling which end of the spectrum they're going to land on, and in the long run.
Yeah, that's well, I can tell you this. It's about making money given the levels of debt that AT&T has taken on. And Albert and I have discussed in the past, they're looking to sell off their gaming division, which is arguably the most valuable part of the Warner Brothers acquisition.
Right.
That they've taken in. We haven't heard anything else about that other than they were looking to get around $6 billion or so for it. And I don't think that there's a lot of communication going on between AT&T and DC Comics Direct, other than Warner Brothers knows that AT&T is not beyond chopping it up into little pieces and selling it off a piece at a time to get that $200 billion debt down. More immediately, that's $65 million in the next 5 years.
Well,
and I think a lot of the changes we're seeing is coming from that, the pressure from Warner Brothers on not just DC, but every department, prove your worth, over and over.
I don't know that there's anyone giving true direction. I know that they've made Jim Lee in charge, but I don't know if Jim Lee has that kind of a leadership position, because even when he was Image, he wasn't that strong of a leader in their stuff. Or wasn't he the first one to jump ship and go somewhere else?
He did go to be fair, he did go to DC though.
Right. Well, I mean that, but he's the first one to leave the business they started.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering if he's the person to actually lead DC in the direction it needs to go right now.
Ever since Didio left, we haven't heard that much at all from Jim Lee.
No.
I mean, we've heard a couple of just vague reassurances, but he's not coming. He's definitely not been Stan Lee about it.
Right.
You know, I mean, good, bad, or indifferent, Stan Lee would have been out there jumping up and down, shouting something.
I would imagine they have someone else to take Didio. Like Jim Lee's just going to be Jim Lee wherever.
Yeah.
I would imagine they have someone in mind or lined up to take over Didio, and it's not ironed out yet to do it. So it's just sort of like, we already got comic books lined up to come out, with the exception of 5G that they've tossed underneath the bus. So just let metal and everything come out, and as we get further down, we'll take care of it.
Oh dear God, Tim, what do you think of metal?
Well, that's just what I was fixing to say. Well, that depends on how metal comes out in the long run. Sorry, I'm so jumpy and moving.
That's okay.
Moving. I'm on a cell phone, so I think that's really going to determine a lot of the direction is how metal is well received or received, basically. I mean, it's got pretty covers. It's got pretty artwork.
I think
something nice to say? Is that,
I think I said
if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. I did. I think some of this whole bat world that it's in with all the little different areas, it seems to me that it's a little convoluted, and it's almost like throwing it right in your face. Even with one, I was going like, okay, now wait. I was trying to follow it because it was hard to follow.
I was having a real problem. I think you said, if you can't say anything nice, don't say it at all. No. The correct saying now is, if you can't say anything nice, that's what we say for the podcast.
Okay.
Because I actually think on the last episode of the podcast, I said, if you walked into your comic book shop and you saw Death Metal #2 with its standard cover of Batman coming home from the monster truck rally in that vehicle, and you thought this is worth $6, you're part of the problem.
I agree with you.
But I mean,
I sort of thought, hey, is Grant Morrison writing this?
No, it's not quite.
I knew that'd get a rise out of it.
In Snyder's defense, it ain't got enough like weird, stupid lingo talk to be Grant Morrison.
Yeah, we're not dealing with quantum areas or anything like.
Because Morrison would have made up a whole bat language and had everyone talking like that.
Just to veer off in a way, kind of like Hickman has with the X-Men. And okay, now let's come back to DC.
Look, I completely and totally can buy the X-Men love-ins on Krakoa. I have to watch why I say we're on the thing, but I have a real problem with death metal.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean it's like, were you not even reading your own stuff for the last 2 years?
Well, yeah, and it just comes back to Wally West and the flash forward and the fact that they gave him Dr. Manhattan's powers, and then turn around and he's nothing. I mean, literally within a month, he has this omniscient power, and now he's just like, oh, poor me, Wally. You know, he's back into his little wimpy self.
Yeah, and complete dismissal of Doomsday Clock,
yes.
Which deserved to be, in my opinion, the new cornerstone for reestablishing the continuity.
More than what this death metal has done so far.
Yeah. And he just dismissed it out of hand in 2 panels.
Yes.
That just infuriated me. Just absolutely. I'm so tired of the Joker. At what point?
Which Joker?
All of them. All of them. At what point does the general public get enough Joker and Harley Quinn? Because we've got a big Joker event coming up, not just the Joker War in Batman, which I thought got off to a great start. I think Tinian's...
Oh, yeah. I'm okay with that.
Despite the fact there's a million Joker things, Joker War, that's been pretty good, so far.
Yeah, it really had. I mean, this last issue, Albert, you and I haven't even talked about the issue that came out this week. This sets up stuff. This feels great. This feels like a Batman book, and it puts Batman in jeopardy again. It's unlike anything we got from Mr. King's run on it. At no time did I actually think that, even with Bane taking over Gotham and what have you, them taking over the mansion, at no time did I actually think that it wasn't going to revert to status quo. But in this, I don't know where they're headed with it. I feel that Alfred plays a big part of this somehow.
Yeah, how so?
Well, okay. Is he the accountant? I say the accountant. I don't know. I forget the character's actual name.
Underbroker or something?
The underbroker, yeah. Because we haven't seen the underbroker's face, and we know he's not the same guy as their Moriarty was supposed to be.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. They changed. At least they changed the names.
So you think he's still alive?
I think he's coming back. I don't think he was ever meant to leave.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, it's comic books. You can write around this 100 ways.
Did we not see Underbroker's face in this week's comic?
No, you saw him putting on the mask.
Okay.
You didn't see his face.
I haven't seen this week's comic, so y'all have a little bit of a head start on me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's Joker War Part 1. It's really, really quite good, and they debut the new bat suit that apparently the only person knew that it existed was Alfred. It was hidden away, which, you know, when I saw this is what I don't like about getting news from online sources beforehand, because it's completely out of context.
Right.
And it's all in how it's presented. When I saw the bat suit, I thought, okay, it's you know, the glowy cow, and what's the reason for this? Well, the reason for this is that this is Alfred being optimistic, and that puts a completely different spin on the existence of that suit for me. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't tell me that Bruce Wayne got tired and wanted to go to just, you know, multiple colors. Try bright for a while. So
yeah, you don't think that's his protection against the 5G?
But they already took care of that.
Well, I thought he was supposed to be replaced after 100. Wasn't that the talk, that one of the Foxes was going to replace him?
Anymore.
That was the, yeah. No, the rumor is, and this is more than a rumor, rumor is something that you overhear and gets repeated. There was some form of an editorial leak that basically said 5G will be presented. Luke Fox has the Batman, Jonathan has Superman, but more in a Ultimates type continuity.
I can deal with
separate
that.
Continuity. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Elseworlds type stuff.
Yeah, except that you very rarely, unless Wally's trapped in between dimensions, see the Elseworlds play a role. But I think it's supposed to be more akin to Ultimates.
Okay, good.
So hey, Doc Carter, I just saw you there. But yeah, so you're still going to get a form of that. If you're going to get a form of anything, DC's laying in heavy to the digital comics, heavier than we expected.
Yeah.
With the Diamond announcement and everything else. And again, I think that's just because every aspect of Warner Brothers, Time Warner, is scrambling to prove its worth. I really do believe, and I'm reading this out of Forbes. They're not talking about comic books, but I'm reading about AT&T and its intellectual properties and how it's looking to alleviate some of the debt that it's in and all. And I really do believe that Warner Brothers knows that it can be chopped up and sold off. Also, did you notice that your DC Universe Online thing is no longer taking yearly subscriptions?
I had not caught that, because my subscription, I paid the annual and it's not due till later. But I had not count. But that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all.
They're going to, it's Albert and I talked about this a while back. They're going to meld it into HBO Max.
Yeah.
This was poor. They had to know, even at the point of the launch. How long ago did they launch DC Universe, Albert?
Was it last October, November?
Surely it's been a little longer than that.
I just paid my second annual one. I mean, I paid it.
So 2 years. Yeah. Okay, so at least 2 years. It's been 2 years since they launched it. Even at that point, they had to know that the Warner properties were going to have to launch as a streaming service, because Disney Plus was announced. It wasn't called Disney Plus at the time. It was just called Disney Streaming. So Warner Brothers had to have a concept that, you know, they're going to have to call home everything under one tent. And they went ahead and launched the DC service anyway. Look, there's no question in my mind, everything, the Super Friends cartoons, all of the classic cartoons, everything from DC is going to go to HBO Max. I just don't know what they're going to do about the online comics.
I assume they just make a separate service for it all.
I don't know. Separate's not the way to go at the moment, with everybody consolidating, with everybody calling everything home. I mean, because you're watching right now, the X-Men has each of the contracts on showing the Fox X-Men movies run out. Each of the X-Men movies come home to Disney Plus, one after another. has the Aliens movies let up, those will revert, if not to Disney Plus, then to Hulu, which is also owned by Disney.
Right.
So this is a matter of all the properties going home where it belongs. NBC launched Peacock, and one of the jokes about it was you can watch all your favorite NBC shows here. And one of the characters says, even Friends, and they slap that character because Friends belongs to Warner. So you got a Time Warner situation going on there.
I got a Zoom meeting going on. Just listening to it. That thing started at the library.
Hey, Doc. It's all coming into their individual houses now. And I think what's going on with DC Comics is they're trying to find out where they can make the most money across the board. Is it digital? Is it this special combination of comics? Albert was the one that pointed out that the release date's been moved. Not only did they cancel with Diamond, but they moved the release date to Tuesday, as Albert pointed out, so it could release with all of their other media. Tuesday's the release date for the novels and the CDs and things to come out, all the albums to drop and such.
And that makes sense.
So, Albert, you want to swing in here?
I had something to say, but I can't remember what I was going to say. They also made the joke in Action Comics this week that Black Label Comics was the only thing that made money.
I did not read Action Comics on purpose.
There's a Black Label Club, and they're like, "Oh, it's the Black Label Club. It's the only thing that makes money."
Oh.
So, I just assumed they were making fun of talking about Black Label Comics. So.
Albert's got a theory that Bendis is about to take off of Superman and go to Justice League and put Harley Quinn in there. What you think, Tim?
I don't want Bendis on Justice League, but we need someone different than what's there right now.
Yeah, we do.
Got a Black Label book lined up, I'm guessing.
Who does?
Bendis. He'd have to have a Black Label book lined up.
Yeah, especially if he's going to promote it in Action Comics.
Yeah.
But that's really not the comic to promote it in. But
well, he was just making a gag. I assume it's just an offhanded gag about Black Label. All the Black Label books sell good bit, especially the Batman ones. So
yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. I did read Action Comics. I'd forgotten it. Real easy to do. Did you notice that Jimmy Olsen completely spoiled one of the outcomes of Action Comics? Albert, the end of Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, about who owns what?
Yeah, they're all anxiety in Action Comics about who owns what. And I'm sitting here, we already know.
Like, yeah, Olsen done took care of all that.
See, that in Olsen 12? I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I haven't read that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's in continuity. They slapped it. Not only did they slap it in continuity, they made it mega relevant. So you've got a big wrap up there. Look, the Black Label is putting out a lot of stuff, but it's also, if you look at the quantity they're putting out, some of it's hit and miss. I don't need 3 Harley Quinn books under Black Label. No. And I think that's what we got, don't we? There's 3 of them, right?
That sounds
right. I can't remember. Maybe that's right.
Yeah. The Last God is really good, and it has nothing to do with anything, and that's where they need to go with it. The Wonder Woman story, Lost Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that what that's called?
I forget, but it's we
Scorched
both love
Earth.
Scorched Earth. Yeah, we both love the Wonder Woman story. That's one of the best.
That
Wonder
book's
Woman
fantastic.
stories.
Everybody should read that book.
Yeah, and that's what Black Label should be for. And of course, we got the 3 Jokers coming up.
Yeah.
But
how many copies per issue of that for covers? How many different covers?
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah.
It ain't going to beat G.I. Joe Snake Eyes. Liefeld went out of his way for that one. But as much as I'm looking forward to the 3 Jokers, and as much as I'm enjoying the Joker War, there's a point of diminishing returns on the Joker gag. I just feel like DC has much more to offer than just the Joker and just the Batman characters.
Is the 3 Jokers supposed to be in continuity?
I thought so.
I would imagine it has to be.
It's in continuity as much as Snyder's Justice League is.
Well, my question is, then where's it going to fit in with the Joker War? Because they're supposed to have their definitive fight at the end of Joker War.
They always have their definitive fight.
Right. So, but then he's also going to have the fight to end all Joker stories, in Three Jokers.
Do y'all remember when comic books used to come out once a month, and when they do a Joker story, the Joker would literally disappear for about 2 to 3 years and then come back and it'd be a big deal? But I mean, you can't put out Bat books now without the Joker in it in some form.
Well, apparently there's 3 of them running around, so they don't have to, guys, they can use them. So.
That's right.
They can alternate.
2 of them can take a vacation and the third one stays, and then they can switch it out. So there's always a different one. So don't laugh. That could be what they do next. So.
Well, Albert keeps seeing artwork with Harley Quinn in the Justice League, and that seems like
I'm not seeing any artwork. I just saw that one.
Oh, I saw artwork with Harley Quinn sitting on the table.
Yeah, I mean that's from just one issue of Justice League, though.
It seems like a very Bendis thing to do.
I should say, she was with the superheroes when Clark revealed his identity.
Yeah.
She was with the superheroes. She wasn't in the villains issue. She was sitting with. That may be when she was sitting on the table.
That's when
I'd have to go back.
She's sitting in the chair, like it's a big maybe a dual page splash of everybody or something.
Yeah,
she's dead center sitting in that table. So
that's what I keep seeing too. Remember at the beginning of the first Secret Wars when Magneto was put in and the heroes and the Thing wanted to know what the hell Magneto was doing.
Yeah.
You remember he would read comics and actually enjoy them?
Well, I did because that was the obvious thing. Why is Magneto standing over here with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men? And no quicker did I think that than the next panel, Ben Grimm was saying, "Why is he here?" So it's that kind of a thing. I mean, it's like you said before, Harley Quinn is a mass murderer. I mean, it's not like Red Hood. You can't squint your eyes and kind of see your way to welcome him in because of his history with the Bat people. I mean, she has killed a lot of people in DC continuity, and take your pick of whichever DC continuity, she's killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what are you most looking forward to, Tim?
But I can see that as a Bendis thing. Yeah. I really can, now that you say that he would try to redeem her in that aspect.
What's to redeem? Everyone just does what they want to with her anyway.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is may make her the hero, or with Justice League. I guess the biggest thing I'm looking forward to right now, is really the 3 Jokers. I know that sounds cliche from what we've been talking about. I want to see how that ties back to the Justice League issue when the Dark Side War.
It won't. I mean, they'll do that, but for most part, John's going to write his own thing, and if they don't want to, they'll do what they do with Doomsday Clock and be like, it don't count, whatever.
I don't know how they got away with that with Doomsday Clock.
Because it's Snyder and he's cool.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Albert, was because of Snyder and probably maybe Bendis. Between the two of them.
What if we stuck Batman Joker's brain in Dr. Manhattan's body?
Just the absolute, and we're not alone in this. I mean, across the board, the reviews on that comic book are.
Oh yeah.
But the sales are, they claim that the sales are up there.
I mean, I imagine it's going to sell a ton. I mean, it's still Dark Knight's metal. So, or death metal or whatever the hell they call it this time.
Yeah, but you have to open it up, and there has to be something in there. And it's just, there's a fundamental lack of understanding of these characters, and you're asking too much in this. Because he keeps having to reiterate every other page, this is reality. This is the reality. Well, no, it's really not, and I don't think any of us are going along with it.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Albert.
No.
I want to
I know we're going to talk over each other. Go, Albert. Say what you're going to say.
I wasn't going to really say anything. I just didn't understand how, like, it confuses me. I overthink the aspect that, like, can you just take Dr. Manhattan's body and shove another brain in it?
They did it with the Red Skull and Professor X.
I didn't like that either in Nexus.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is Dr. Manhattan. He's different.
He's very different.
His molecular makeup's completely different than the human body.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. It just seemed kind of convoluted. And it's just, I think Snyder, I don't know if they say that Snyder has this is all leading towards the future for DC. If it does, it's kind of scary at this point into the story. But, it's going to be 8 issues, isn't it? Or is it 9 of this?
Dear Lord, I think it was, for some reason, I thought it was 12. And I thought I can't sit through 12 issues of this, but it can't be.
12.
It can't be.
Well, see, Jeff Johns is still doing Shazam, and he's got Superboy Prime running around in that book.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Superboy Prime, Dark Side, name, who's the other one? Dark Side, Anti-Monitor, and all that. They're all scheduled to show up in this book as servants of Perpetua, which is the biggest
bunch of crap.
Nothing. Yeah. Look, anybody can say this is the bad guy and they have godlike power.
Well, the thing is, Snyder can, the issue isn't the story. The issue is him doing this story in continuity because, that Batman book he did called The Last Night with Capullo, it's just as ridiculous, but it was an Elseworld and it all worked great.
I didn't have any problem. I don't think it was just as ridiculous.
It didn't step on anybody's or anyone's toes because it was its own thing.
And maybe that's why I liked it better. No, I liked it better because there was more of a story to it. For whatever reason, I can buy that, I guess Futurama, you can buy the Joker's decapitated head talking to Batman as he wanders through the desert. And as opposed to a sentient Batmobile that has its own reality, you're asking too much in death metal of me. Whereas the previous Snyder, what was the name of it? The Last Night?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Last Night. The Last Night was not asking too much. Yeah.
No, because you knew it was an Elseworld story.
Yeah. And even if you hadn't said Elseworlds, in the same way that the Scorched Earth with Wonder Woman is, I'll buy the mutation, I'll buy the nuclear apocalypse because this person that's writing that book knows who Wonder Woman is at her character, at her very core. This is who Wonder Woman is, and this is how she'd walk through this situation. So, I'm all for that. Anything that furthers the mythology. I don't think that death metal furthers the mythology at all. Combining Batman with Joker, like Albert says, what was the judge's name from Judge Dredd? Judge Death? Yeah. He's just a ripoff of Judge Death. You're not doing anything more for either of those two characters in that situation. Whereas under Last Night, you did a little something more for it, or at least you didn't cause any harm, and it was entertaining. And so, moving forward, we're about at the halfway point. Y'all want to talk about the DC Universe movies?
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever exists of it. So.
All right. Well, did y'all? Unfortunately, I found out where they've leaked the entire Wonder Woman plot, not the movie itself.
Oh, I haven't seen that. That.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a superhero movie. I mean, it's just the plot really ain't much of anything one way or another.
Well, fight the villain, almost win, almost lose, come back and you win. Ha ha.
It ain't like they're leaking Tenet or something like that. So
I'm sure Tenet leaked too, because a lot of them leaked. New Mutants leaked. Black Widow, we all know what's going to happen in that. I mean, you can almost look at that, and that's not going to stop anybody from going to see it. and it's not. I don't think it's going to stop anybody from going to go see Wonder Woman.
If there's anywhere to go see them.
Yeah, well, they've already pushed Wonder Woman back again. From that last date, they just haven't announced another date, but it's been confirmed that Wonder Woman and Black Widow will be pushed back again. So, you got a problem there. The Wonder Woman, if the leak, and I have no reason to disbelieve the leak because the New Mutants plot was dead on. If the leak's to be believed, it doesn't deter from anything that's come before it in the DC cinematic universe, and it doesn't detract anything from it. It's largely just to itself with a few hits here and there to say, okay, Wonder Woman showed up in World War I, which we already know from the Wonder Woman movie, but it doesn't reference any of the Snyder events. It does show her going to lengths to keep her presence a secret from the general populace to a degree. So, that at least in accordance with the Justice League movie or Batman versus Superman, the general populace wasn't aware she existed.
Right.
And other than that, it will probably look a lot better than just the breakdown reads of it.
Good.
So, so what are y'all hearing? We know that Flashpoint's coming up, but it looks more and more like the gentleman that played Flash in the Justice League is not going to make it back as Flash. But they've cast Michael Keaton as Batman.
Well, that would be. I
They've
think that would
casted
be good
everybody as
if they-
Batman.
Yeah,
I'm going to play Batman
good.
in the HBO Max original series.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
go
I
ahead.
would be okay with that if they do an older Bruce, like a Batman Beyond or something.
That's
But
exactly
don't try
what
to
they're
make
going to
him
do.
like the current Batman. I think
I don't
that.
think that. I don't
Or
think
he
that's
could
what
be.
they're going for.
I could possibly see him as the Dark Knight Batman.
Kingdom Come Batman, something along
Or
those
Kingdom
lines.
Come Batman.
Yeah, and an older Batman in that continuity. That in Burton's continuity, that could turn out to be its own thing, which would be completely fine with me. But yeah, I find it absolutely humorous that Ezra Miller is probably not coming back as the Flash, but we've already cast Michael Keaton as Batman in a Flash movie. I think that's very avant-garde of DC to have all the Batmans in a movie entitled Flash.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard why. Is it because of contracts with other movies, or has he done something else or said something else?
There was that situation. With, I don't know if I'd call her a fan or not, but there was a situation where he knocked that person down. And there's been a couple of other situations, and there's some behind the scenes stuff that just is making it more and more. Remember, Disney never came out and said, Johnny Depp's not in Pirates anymore. It just, the Amber Heard stuff just kept escalating and escalating, and Disney just didn't say a word about it. And just behind the scenes, we weren't contracted with him. We weren't going to offer him anymore. And so now it's not, it looks like that situation with Ezra Miller, that stuff keeps going on behind the scenes, and it's a 50-50 shot whether or not he puts on that costume again. Get Gustav. Get the guy from, I mean, I like him, and I think he could carry a cinematic movie. I think you'd have to do something to knock him out of the TV continuity.
Well, they got to bring Ezra. They had to bring Ezra back to at least refilm whatever Snyder's filming.
Oh, you mean his master cut for his movie that the big petition pushed it in to HBO?
I've never seen so much money.
No petition has ever made a studio spend $30+ million to the movie they've already put out.
These are the most expensive cut scenes ever to be made 3 years after the movie hit DVD.
It's ridiculous.
Look, if it hits and it's the greatest thing ever, I'll be the first to say it. I just, for the love of God, stop calling it the Snyder Cut and just say, remember the Snyder Justice League? Well, we're going to do another one and pretend that one didn't happen. And it's going directly to HBO.
Right.
Man, we promise you cannot tell Ben Affleck has an obviously horrible drinking problem in this version of the movie.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm sure Ben Affleck has not gotten any cheerier.
Batman spends half that movie walking around with a glass of scotch.
A glass of scotch? And he's looking at his watch all the time, and that's not a character trait. That's Ben Affleck going, guys, I gotta go.
I'm on the clock. Let's hurry it up.
I gotta hit the gym about 20 minutes.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So,
but a lot of this stuff that has come out, this melee about Whedon, and I know they tried to get traction on some Whedon stuff, and it just kind of went flat after a week.
Well, it turns out Whedon's just a jerk, and that's about the.
Well, no crap. I mean, but okay. Here's a shock. Every one of these directors are jerks. That's how they get things done. I mean, it's the same thing Megan Fox said about Blow 'em Up. What's his name? Transformers?
Michael Bay.
Yeah, Michael Bay. It's the same thing Megan Fox said about it. Said, he didn't sexually assault me, and the part I was trying out for required me to do what he had me do. They never treated me like that. He's just a jerk. And everybody says that. I mean, about all the directors. Carrie Fisher used to complain all the time about Lucas because he wouldn't give her direction. Faster, more intense, that sort of thing. So you gotta do better than the director's a jerk in this day and age. And look, it's no secret Whedon was not happy being on that film, being called in. That's not at all. Not at all.
I was looking forward to it.
Whedon directed the biggest movie ever.
Right.
And then realized none of it had to do with him. I could have directed that movie. My dog could have directed that movie.
I'm going to stop short of.
It'd probably been a better movie.
I'm going to stop short of saying you could have directed that.
I would at least got the camera and put it at an angle every once in a while rather than just sitting on a tripod on the floor.
We went to see Avengers together, and every time something exciting happened, I hit Albert and he, what?
To this day, watching that movie in the theater was like a Twilight Zone episode.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, breaking out in a sweat and could not figure out why anyone thought this was good that I'm watching.
Okay, moving on to other DC media. Tim, did you sit through all of Crisis on Infinite Earths, which finished up in February?
Yeah.
Well, what'd you think?
For what you could do on TV and how you have to adapt the story to TV, I was okay with it.
I was okay with it too. The Gleek joke at the end I thought was cute.
Which one?
Gleek. When they go to the warehouse and it was a former Star Labs thing, and I thought that was. It had its moments. It was mostly nostalgia driven. I thought
it was interesting. I think they messed up in a couple of ways after the crossover because in one, I think in Supergirl, it was when the doppelgangers from other Earths came in. Yeah, that they were dying, but in other stories they were surviving and being able to stay. And so I don't think they talked it through for after the fact, so that all of them were on the same page.
So the coordination was not as good.
Yeah.
Well, bringing that in, how much of Batgirl did you watch?
Batwoman. I think
Batwoman.
I got all of Batwoman. I think I got all of Batwoman.
What do you think about her leaving and them going in a new direction with it?
I was okay with her, but she just didn't feel like the right person for it. I mean, she didn't seem as moody as what I think of in the books, and she, but she took what she had and she ran with it.
Yeah.
But that was just my opinion.
It's come out more and more since they made that announcement, and they've hired somebody new to be Batwoman, but a different type of Batwoman. And yeah, there's been a couple of pages of dialogue leaked, and it looks like it's going to be, I don't want to say lighthearted, but it's more lighthearted than it was. Not comedic, not Supergirl level lightheartedness, but there's more of a trial and error and comedy that springs from it.
Right.
That,
but
you know,
I think they're just doing that to fill the time until they bring the new Kate in.
Oh, well, that's what I'm talking about. The script, the pages of dialogue was leaked from her putting on the bat suit, the new actress, taking over as her. I tried my best with Batwoman, and it just did nothing for me. I love Supergirl. I love Flash. I never cared for Arrow. Arrow was okay, but to me, from Arrow season 1 and season 2. It was like, here's Green Arrow, but he's actually Batman with arrows.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, and here's his bad guy, Ra's al Ghul. So that's, that sort of thing. I could adapt to it. Out of all of them, I still like the Flash the best.
What about Supergirl?
Really well. I like Supergirl.
I'm sorry, Stargirl. What about
I haven't watched Stargirl yet. I've got her saved up. I haven't watched her, but I've heard great things. Albert, have you seen Stargirl?
No, I keep meaning to watch it. I just ain't got around to it yet.
I ought to hit you both with wet noodles, dudes.
Yeah.
That is absolutely right now one of the best CW superhero shows. It follows the book a lot, but it's able to take some of the stuff. I mean, you see Green Lantern's lantern.
Yeah.
You see all the artifacts from the.
They've got that picture that's floating around of the 7 soldiers.
Yeah.
Of victory and all. Yeah, I want to watch it. I'm not avoiding it. I just haven't sat down to watch her yet, but I hear great things about her. Sandra Swindle from Kingdom Casts, she rants and raves about it. She likes it a lot.
I mean, the Stripesy, the robot, was great.
How much is he in there?
Budget, I'm sure they had, but he was good.
Is he in there a good bit?
Fair bit.
While we're still on the subject, I hate to say it, but I think the best platform to launch a new DC cinematic universe in is not necessarily as much this Flash movie that everybody keeps talking about as it is Shazam.
Yeah.
I think that's where you start, from the ground up with it. I think you can keep Wonder Woman, you can keep the Wonder Woman and Aquaman movies in continuity with no problem. But I think Shazam really does lay the platform for the rest of the DC universe.
Shazam was a good movie.
It was a very good movie, and I look forward to Black Adam if they ever go into production on it, which The Rock keeps insisting they will.
I mean, with Shazam, you had Batman's Batarang.
Mm-hmm.
You had Superman's midriff at the end of the movie. And I think even there was something about Wonder Woman in there.
Oh, yeah. She was mentioned, and so was Aquaman.
Yeah. So you have it across the board that mentioned and pulled everybody pretty much into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's solid. More than any of the other. I loved Wonder Woman. I didn't care for Aquaman that much, but I understand that everybody else did apparently. But I loved the Wonder Woman layout, and that appealed to me in the same way the Captain America movie did. Yeah. I thought they did real well with both of those, and both of those kind of echoed back and forth. But Shazam laid the groundwork for the common man. Not only are you seeing a common person point of view, you're seeing a common kid caught in the middle of this situation. And it was very humanizing, and I think they did more world building in that one movie than they did anywhere else with, than Justice League, than Batman versus Superman. Those can be discarded, and you can take Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam and build from the platform that is Shazam. The more you use him to see the other superheroes, the better off you're going to be.
Its eyes. Yeah.
I just want to see Mr. Mind is what I want to see.
Oh, well, you got him. I mean, yeah, he showed up at the end.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Mind. Yes.
And they even set you up for Tony the Talking Tiger.
Yep.
Yeah, the multiple doors and the
Serpentine.
and the gateway and all. You saw the shark people, so you naturally.
Well, the movie is based strongly on Jeff Johnson's origin form.
Yeah.
I mean, the sequel could just be what they're doing in the comics now, where Billy's dad shows up and they've got to deal with the other kingdoms or whatever. So, I mean, they've got an easy sequel, softball to them.
Well, Black Adam's coming out next before that Shazam sequel. They haven't even announced a Shazam 2. But you notice that nobody's announced anything past Eternals. I mean, everything's come to a screeching halt.
What about Batman?
Small screen.
The Batman.
Oh, I forgot about the Batman.
He's still coming out. I know. It's easy to forget about that with some of the stuff that I've seen. I'm okay with Catwoman.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay with what I've seen of Batman. But nobody's talking about where he fits in, if he fits in,
right,
to any of this. And I think, look, it's fine if DC. When we're talking about the movies, we're talking about Warner Brothers. It's the DC Cinematic Universe, but it's Warner Brothers that's the driving force. And again, it's a scary time at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the coronavirus or anything else. It's a scary time at Warner Brothers, but coupled with the coronavirus, the coronavirus and the theaters being shut down and nobody else knowing what's going on, nobody's pitching anything forward. Nobody's pitching anything past Batman 2. I saw that the boys have been signed up for season 3 and season 2 hasn't even hit yet on Amazon. Yeah. But all the small screen productions are going right ahead. Scarlet Witch, Winter Soldier, Falcon, all of those are going right ahead with their platforms, but you're not hearing, we're closing in real quick and you're not hearing anything about production on Doctor Strange 2.
Right.
And that's supposed to launch right after Scarlet Witch does.
Have they even started Doctor Strange 2?
Yeah, they've got the director on it. They've got the cast.
Right.
They've got script.
I mean, have they started like filming actual actors?
No, they haven't started filming anything for a little bit because of COVID-19. Or if they have, they hadn't said a word, and they'd be filming in Europe.
Well, the thing is, as far as that with the COVID stuff, is it's put theaters shut down, and they don't know when or if they're going to be able to open back up. I mean, I've heard AMC talking of bankruptcy. A couple other ones.
Before we got on here, there was another major theater chain. It was a brand new theater chain, and they postponed their reopening again. And so I still say, look, at this point, so far as Black Widow and Wonder Woman, there comes a point when those two movies, Wonder Woman and Black Widow, start to actually lose money by not being available to the general public. And we're coming up on that point real quick where either Warner Brothers or Disney is going to have to make the leap and say, all right, $30 to stream it in your house, and figure out how they can make money from that going forward. So I actually think that Warner Brothers will be first to roll the dice with it, because they're looking for any, and like I said, they're having to prove their worth. They're having to prove their worth with the comic books. They're having to consolidate what they do with the comic books and the comic book market. And they want to get as much out of every aspect of it as they can. And so I do think, although Disney has been really good just about tossing stuff to Disney Plus.
Yeah. Very
good.
Mean,
yeah, they're like, yeah, we got this, put it on Disney Plus. So, but I think HBO Max, I think Warner Brothers will be the first to roll the dice with their summer blockbuster, because we've only, August is almost here.
Yeah.
And those two were supposed to be the tent poles. Yeah. And we're coming in on the last 15 minutes. Let's get final thoughts. Tim, your final thoughts on DC comic book universe and what they could do better, what you're liking?
Well, I wish I could see them focus more on some of the other people besides Batman. That's just me. I'm just getting tired of Batman. I'd like to see some others, but I don't know that the other stuff sells, and it's all about money. So
the other stuff could sell.
could.
I mean, and that has in the past. You've got several areas here, and also let's not forget. We did forget Green Lantern. There's supposed to be a live action Green Lantern coming to HBO Max.
Right.
There's supposed to
please
be.
Don't let Morrison do it.
Well,
Sorry.
there's Albert.
Sorry, Albert.
Let's have weird aliens speak that for some reason the ring won't translate.
Yeah.
So we got to read. We have to read backwards riddles for some reason.
But you've got a lot of stuff that's coming to HBO Max that hasn't hit yet because HBO Max launched a little, what you could say is prematurely. They've got a lot of great stuff on it. However, when you're scrolling down that entire list and you see 3 roles of Bill Maher, it doesn't encourage continue to scroll to see what else there is. But yeah, they've got the DC stuff coming to HBO Max specifically made for that, which I'm looking forward to. That anything can trip a revival, because I keep emphasizing this. Batman is not the Batman we know today. He was not the Batman we know today in 1984.
No.
Yeah, without Dark Knight, and then without Michael Keaton and Tim Burton's Batman in 1989 to cement that position for Batman, he would not. It was just timing. The timing was great on it. Superman has always been the money maker before then, and Superman can easily come back, but you've got to have the right chemistry, and the timing's got to be right on that. I think the timing's right. I think it's a matter of getting the person to put words in his mouth and give direction to it.
I think Tom Hanks could play Superman.
That's
Tom
almost
Hanks.
as bad as Nicolas Cage playing
I
Superman.
think Tom Hanks could play a fine Superman.
Tom Hanks is qualified to play elongated man.
Ooh, yeah.
That's it. in the DC cinematic universe, Tom Hanks
Speaking of which,
Ralph.
Speaking of which, from the CW elongated man, that guy that played Ralph is out of the show.
Oh, well, yeah. After
because of some allegations. So you're like, okay, what are they going to do with the whole staff? I mean, the whole crew as far as that. So.
Oh, you can walk somebody else back into that role. That's not a, yeah.
I'm almost out of battery power, believe that or not, in today's society. But before I get cut off when I'm running out of battery power, I have some major concerns with DC. Some of the dislikes is the way they've changed their distribution.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling if they don't get that under control, they're going to have problems, more problems.
This goes back to that proving their worth to AT&T thing.
Yeah.
This is consolidation. They use the COVID-19 quarantine as an excuse to go ahead and do this. This was not something that they were talking about in any serious way 2 months before. This is something that was there, something that they were thinking about, but then this is time where the comic book industry as a whole needed to pull together, because it's a serious problem and they're not through it yet. I mean, dear God, look at the amount of titles Marvel chopped just like that, and that currently don't have a release date and that are just floating in limbo. And it's the same thing with DC. DC's chopped and pared down. And they're, let's go to digital. No, let's not go to digital. Let's release and let's, but we're not doing it with Diamond anymore because Diamond shut their doors to save their employees from getting COVID. So it's all across the board. They are, what tells me the most is that they couldn't wait through the quarantine to make decisions like this. It would have been a completely different situation had they made the decision in November of last year and come forward and said, we're breaking with Diamond Comics. Right. Even if they couldn't break in the contract at that point, they could have made the announcement. But that shows how ill prepared they were to follow through on this. And these are decisions being made out of fear.
And it goes all the way back to what I said, their lack of leadership. They don't have someone steering the helm right now that can do what needs to be done.
Well, Tim, it's awful hard to be a leader when you've got 15 minutes in that chair before your replacement comes in from
That's
Warner
true.
Brothers and says, "No, man, you're out."
Well,
You didn't get the memo.
The diamond thing could have literally just been some AT&T guy going, well, we got all these comic books. Why aren't they coming out? Well, Diamond shuts down. And the AT&T guy goes, who's Diamond?
The news
Why do
never
they
even
matter?
reached.
Go
There-
find
that-
some other way to put them
That,
out.
you're exactly right, Albert.
The news never even reached AT&T about Diamond. This came from within Warner Brothers, and it's a fear atmosphere. AT&T is more or less just assessing what they've got. Any move like this came out of Warner Brothers, of the Warner Brothers division. And when I say that, it's hard to know. You can say Warner Brothers has the entertainment part of it, which encompasses DC Comics and all. But it's hard to know where Warner Brothers stops and time starts and CNN time stops and CNN starts, because they just sold the Omni in Atlanta. Talk about AT&T breaking things up. They sold CNN headquarters in Atlanta. Y'all know that, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they sold it. CNN's international Atlanta headquarters, which has been there since the day they started in 1980, it was sold. They sold it and got rid of it and got it off. AT&T didn't want CNN to begin with and tried to negotiate a deal for the Time Warner aspect without CNN before they closed the deal. So guess what's about to be sold next if they can find a buyer?
CNN.
This is CNN. Good night, everybody. Yeah. So it's that sort of thing. What we're seeing come out of Warner Brothers at the moment is a game of musical chairs. And where can we get the most money to prove value? The best thing I believe that could happen to the DC Comics property and Warner Brothers in general, and Warner Brothers property includes HBO Max, all the movies, everything, is if Comcast, NBC Universal, or Albert said CBS, one of the other conglomerates bought them. Disney's not going to buy them. Disney has bought Fox, and Disney is working on maintaining everything through this situation. But it's entirely possible I could actually see Universal or the CBS Viacom come out of nowhere and say, we'll take those properties. And it depends on how much they get offered for them.
Yeah.
So I'm still a big believer. I don't think that they would sell DC Comics separately from the Warner Brothers empire.
I just assumed all that's a package deal.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Like Warner, Looney Tunes.
The gaming was a package deal too. That gaming was incorporated into Warner Brothers.
Wow.
That's not like Disney ceasing their gaming section to cut deals with EA or some other gaming stuff. That was Warner Brothers. That was the whole reason Warner Brothers bought Street Fighter way back when.
No, not even by Street Fighter.
Who is it?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Big time gamer here.
They bought the remnants of Midway, I think is what it amounts to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. So it's trying times. All right, we're down to the last 6 minutes. Kristen said that the library computers were probably going to reboot themselves or do something entertaining like that. Thank you all for joining us. This was the Hoover Library Sci-Fi Festival DC Comics panel. Tim Bryant, thank you for joining us. He
You're welcome.
Provides content to Albert and I on Kingdom Cast's podcasts. And that's what Albert and I do is Kingdom Cast podcast. We sit and argue about who owns what aspect of Warner Brothers. Or I say a video game thing and he corrects me on how I'm wrong about it. So
you shouldn't be wrong on stuff like that.
Well, I don't know about video game. I'm not sitting here playing video games. I've got the Disney Infinity stuff over there.
Or as Bernadette says on Big Bang Theory, I like the Wii.
Yeah, I like the Wii.
That's where I am.
That's exactly right. All right. Well, thank you all very much. And